Hey everybody, welcome back to Floyd's Records. I'm your host, Floyd Sampson. Today we're going to be reviewing a special album. It's Outbound by the band Keldian. So before I get into it, I want to talk a little bit about my love for the band and how I got to know them. So this album has been out for 10 years. In fact, tomorrow is Halloween, October 31st, and this album was released October 31st of 2013. And I got into this band, Keldian. First off, they're a Norwegian kind of space metal duo, right? And they don't perform live or anything. All their stuff is studio based. And they are really awesome guys. I got into them, I think, in '08 or '09 when I literally Googled space metal. And they popped up with this album called Heaven's Gate. And I really loved it. Then they released Journey of Souls, I think a year later. I think Heaven's Gate was '07 or '08, and they released Journey of Souls, and then they released this album, Outbound, in 2013. And it is not only in my top 10 favorite albums of all time, but it's also my favorite metal album of all time. This was an awesome album to get into because when they released it, it was pretty much download only from Bandcamp or what have you, and it took years for them to put it on CD, so I was super excited to get a copy of it. And I thought in honor of its 10th year anniversary, it'd be a good idea to review it in its entirety. If you have not heard this album, I highly, highly recommend it. It is my favorite album, metal album of all time. So I'm just going to go track by track and just talk about my thoughts and my feelings and get all, emotional and wishy-washy with you guys about this thing. So track one is called Bird in the Sky, and I remember listening to this. I was on Angelo State University. I was on the college campus. The album had just been released, and I played it from Bandcamp or whatever, put it to my ear, and I just heard the opening riff and thought, man, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard. It's the perfect combination of sci-fi, space, and metal put together ever. Amazing soaring vocals and synth instrumentation throughout this whole thing. It's like synth, metal, spacey, just really, really awesome stuff. Bird in the Sky. First off, this whole album is a 10 out of 10, so I'm not going to give any of these songs a bad score, right? So Bird in the Sky was easily 10 out of 10. Moving on to track 2, Earthblood, has a really cool Spanish guitar in there, and it separates itself from the rest of the tracks. Never Existed might be my second favorite song off the album, I think it has the best chorus. The whole, I don't want to be a hero anymore, this idea of a kind of a war hero who is realizing he might be a terrorist. And that is a very interesting concept that I've never heard in a song before. That song, I tell you, is an awesome song to work out to. The whole album is, of course. Moving on to track 4, Morning Light Mountain, is, again, it's based on, some of these songs are based on books that I have not read, so I'm not going to pretend that I've read them. But these guys, Harold and Chris, they are avid sci-fi readers, and Morning Light Mountain comes from a book that they read. It's like this alien supreme being called Morning Light Mountain. It's like a planet or something. Again, I'm not even going to pretend I know what I'm talking about, but it's really, really cool. And it's got a very pretty outro to it. The song already has like an epic chorus, and then the outro is very beautiful and kind of leaves you thinking. That leads into Kepler and 100,000 Stars, track 5, about journeying through space and finding new planets, hopefully habitable planets, hoping to find habitable planets. Kind of more of a science song as opposed to a science fiction song, because we're talking about real stuff here. One of their best riffs I think they've ever made is on Kepler and 100,000 Stars. And then we get to track 6, which is The Sylvan Paths. And this song is the most epic thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. To this day, I've been listening to this album for 10 years, and I've never heard a song more epic than The Sylvan Paths. Like, you listen to this thing while driving down the highway at night, and you feel like you're traveling from planet to planet. And that's essentially what the song is about. It's like these paths that connect planets, almost wormhole type technology, I think, that connects planets to other planets. It's got the best solo of all time. It is my favorite guitar solo of any song. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Stairway to Heaven, right? But I don't think the solo to Stairway to Heaven holds a candle to this song, okay? And I say that with a lot of confidence because I would take this song over Stairway to Heaven any day. And I'm just going to show you, we're going to take a break. I'm going to show you guys what this CD looks like. So this is, of course, the main cover. And you open it up and they have some cool liner notes and whatnot. And there's some cool artwork. And then you got Harold and Chris right there. And then you got some stuff on the back. So it's pretty neat. You know, I think they went all out considering that they don't perform live or anything. They're just a studio band. And I can relate to that because that's kind of how I am. So I love the fact that they just do what they love and they don't, flaunt it really. This is what the inside looks like without the CD there, and this is what the CD looks like. All right, enough of a break. Let's get to track 7, Run for Your Life. It's got a really mean synth riff that just chops your head off the minute it starts. You're like, whoa, I'm traveling through space right now. Don't really know what's going on. In my head, I imagine he's being chased by aliens or something. I have no idea. So if you think you're smarter than me and you know the song better than I do, leave it in the comments. Track 8 is A Place Above the Air. Again, I think this is based on a book, one of the books that they read. And it's honestly my least favorite track on the whole album. Like if I had to give one song 9.9 out of 10 as opposed to a 10, that would be it. Like I never put this album on and go straight to track 8. But if I listen to the album, I'd never skip it. It's still a beautiful song and great. There's nothing wrong with it. Personally, it's my least favorite. And then track 9, Faster Than Light, also known as FTL. And on the CD, it's actually called FTL. The chorus is really just a really cool, guitar riff, guitar lick, whatever, that again just kind of chops your head off. And it's almost rainbowy how pretty it is. And again, you feel like in these songs that you're traveling through space. And I think that's what Keldian aims for. There's an aura about their music that makes you feel like you're traveling through space. I already like space and science fiction and stuff, but this album got me into it way more. Like now, when I listen to this thing, it makes me want to write my own space songs or it makes me want to watch science fiction films. And I think they deserve to write the score to a sci-fi film one day. I hope they get the chance to because they can write some mean sci-fi songs. They are my favorite metal band of all time. This is my favorite metal album of all time. It's in my top 10 albums of all time, and I cannot recommend it enough. If you've never heard Outbound by Keldian, check it out. And Harold and Chris, if you're watching this, my name is Steven. Y'all have emailed me before. Thank y'all so much for putting this album in my life and making my life 10 times better by giving me this top 10 album, Outbound. So everybody have a happy Halloween and go listen to this album.